Hi, welcome everyone to the Endeavor Miami podcast. I'm your host, Anna Papalexopoulou, and I'm joined by my lovely co host, Daniela Manzanares.
Hi, Anna.
Hello, hello. Thank you for joining. And today we're going to be discussing a lot about Endeavor ScaleUp, which is our early stage initiative here at Endeavor. It's the way that we equip founders in our local ecosystem with the resources and mentorship and advice to grow and scale their companies. So, we're going to give you a little look into the behind the scenes of that process, the Endeavor magic that takes place, and hopefully get to share some of what makes us passionate about working with entrepreneurs here in Florida.
Amazing, Anna. Super excited about this talk and let's get to it.
Amazing. So why don't we tell them a bit about what Endeavor ScaleUp is and to shed some light initially?
Of course, let's start there. So ScaleUp is a cohort-based initiative for high growth founders. We work with founders here in South Florida because that's where we want to start. And we have a cohort of 10 founders. We try to keep it at 10 because we want intimacy. We want the founders to be able to build those strong connections and be able to become friends. And it's a cohort that lasts 4 months. It has a series of many different concepts and places where they get mentorships, they get different resources from Endeavor.
Amazing, yeah. And it's not our only initiative, right?
Exactly.
Conventionally, we're known for helping the highest growth founders in later stages around the world in emerging markets. But you know what? We wanted to bet on founders from early on. And we saw that, especially in the Miami ecosystem, there's a need for that. So I think definitely ScaleUp has filled a void of, merging that gap between the earlier stage founders and the later stage
Exactly.
ones.
And I think our going back to our goal is to prepare them to become those like bigger players in the Florida area.
Yeah, and we've already seen that happen.
Exactly.
Like how
That's
many
super exciting.
how many
actually.
times, like, I don't know if you want to share like an example or two, but like how many times the founders come to us when they're still in the early stages, and then especially through those transformational 4 months, they suddenly make a switch or a click that's truly able to unlock that scalability potential.
No, I agree. I think that's something that we can see in all the cohorts we have. But I have one founder. They're a couple, and they work together as co-founders. They came to Scale Up, had the 4 months, and basically I spoke to her a week ago, and she was like, "Dani, I need to thank Endeavor because I changed my whole strategy. My sales are booming. They took the company to the next level, and I think they are so grateful about what they got through the different mentors program that we had here.
Yeah, and there's something to be said about Endeavor's capacity to enable the founders to dream big.
Exactly.
Because sometimes they're not even aware of the disruptive potential of their companies. I mean, they believe in them, especially the product founders really believe in their product, etc. But the capacity to dream big is something that at Endeavor we nurture, and we're so proud of it. And what has been very touching to me, I don't know if you've noticed it as well, is that the founders cheer each other on and make each other dream even bigger.
I agree.
Because they support each other.
Mm-hmm. It's like we had one founder, I remember he was super good in like marketing, sales, that area, and he noticed that so many other peers in the group needed help. They were having challenges, and he stood up and he was like, everyone, if anyone needs an additional mentorship help, he was able to help them. And he had, I don't know how many, I think probably with 8 out of the 10 other founders, he had his individual calls just to help them. And it's something that I like to think of it is it's genuine. It's no one asked him to do it. We didn't ask them to do it. It's something they like their peers, they see what their peers are building, and they believe in it as well. And that's why they come in to help as well.
That's one of the most beautiful moments for me.
Yeah.
We've both, for context, ran ScaleUp, multiple cohorts, been doing this for a while now. And truly, the learnings and exchanges that founders have with each other are some of the most rewarding exchanges that I've personally seen, and I learn from them as well.
Yeah.
Their curiosity, their ability to ask the right questions and then receive the feedback from their peers or from the other mentors in the cohort is something that truly inspires me, just because I've seen that them getting the answers to the questions that they ask really does unlock that potential that we just talked about, and really does make, I know which founder you're talking about, really does make that founder scale their logistics business into, the next level, penetrating additional markets and going further along.
And something interesting as well is, as they come in to the program, some of them, they think this is industry agnostic. I don't know if I'm going to be able to help other companies. But then they come in and they see that there is so much that they can do together, and like there are so many synergies like in the different businesses, even though they don't work in the same industries, that they're able to help each other.
Yeah,
and that's a great discovery as well.
Yeah, and I think like some of those relationships even extend post program.
100%.
So we recently had a barbecue organized by one of the founders in one of the cohorts, where I think it was a whole year after the program, he invited his fellow peers to his house, Argentinian, made a whole barbecue, had some drinks, etc. Just because they developed a solid relationship.
Exactly.
They developed more than that. They developed trust. And founders who are undergoing such a lonely journey, they can't share their challenges with their employees, because that's going to lead to the motivation. They can't share their challenges with their investors, because they're going to be worried about their return on the investment. They can't share it with their family because they have no clue what it means to be a CEO running a fast growth tech company.
Yeah.
So just having those shoulders and that camaraderie is truly like unique for them.
I love how you said it, like the shoulders, like that's a great way to think of it, because it's after they met the 10 founders they're talking to, also the network expands. They meet alumni, they meet so many other people in the Endeavor network who are more shoulders they can look for as they grow their businesses. And it's a community of founders that they're all going towards the same goal, which is scale their businesses, grow them, and get themselves and their companies to their full potential.
And then you know what? There's a next step to it, which I think it wouldn't be Endeavor if we didn't mention.
Of course.
You know what it is? I mean,
I know what it is.
It's paying it forward.
Yeah.
So something that I see even within the cohort, we talked about, how they learn from each other, but our whole existence relies on those founders who we bet on early on, scaling it, becoming Endeavor entrepreneurs, entering our global network, and then acting as mentors for the next generation of entrepreneurs. So when you talk about, them scaling successfully, it doesn't stop there. It creates a multiplier effect. And a lot of the magic comes from the founders who scaled and are a few years ahead, who go back and share some of the ways that they perceived or they overcame the challenges that they're currently going
Exactly. No, that's amazing. I think whenever I sit down on a mentorship of a ScaleUp participant, and the mentor who is an EE and is now mentoring fellow founders, it has such a magic in the call, because the mentor knows what the founder is going through, and I feel like they almost put themselves in their shoes. Exactly. And it reminds themselves of what it was to scale a company.
And they feel understood.
Exactly.
It's something that's very difficult. When they face like a very specific set of niche challenges, feeling understood can be the make it or break it. And something that I did want to share is that apart from all the wonderful programming and more official mentorship that these ScaleUp participants enjoy, there's a lot to be said about the psychological support. And Endeavor Miami, our managing director Claudia, has been putting mental health front and center for a long time now. She was was the most outspoken person in the ecosystem about this. And there's been a lot of times where our founders come to us and they don't know if they're gonna have cash flow in 1 or 2 or 3 months. So I don't know if you want to share something about like your experience. And I've seen this pan out a couple of times where founders are in a difficult situation psychologically, and like we
I
can be
think,
there for them.
and I think they go through those kind of challenges weekly by weekly because it's tough. It's hard to have a company, to manage all the employees, to have your face mask of a CEO mask on at all times. And I think that's what Endeavor provides them. It's a safe space to take that mask off, and be just a person, a regular person, not a CEO, but someone who's trying to build up their companies. Actually, going on the mental health topic, it's super interesting how I've been looking at the different modules and the speakers talking about mental health, even though the topics are not the main topic of the session is not mental health. And many of the participants tell me, Dani, it's not only about scaling my company, but it's about scaling myself. It's about working on myself so that I can show up for my team.
And doing that in a sustainable fashion.
Exactly.
How many times do founders hit that burnout level?
Exactly.
Where, it's not sustainable to be dedicating, 3 a.m. nights, 4 a.m. nights, that can't happen perpetually because you're just going to burn out and it's going to end up hurting your own business.
Exactly. No, and at the end of the day, by working with all these founders, it's a two-way street. And I've learned so much from them as well. And I think I learn daily, and I admire so many different things about what it takes to be a founder and to do what they're doing. And I could just to name a few, you have to be so perseverant. You have to be such a good leader. You have to try to keep developing so many skills to get to the level they want to.
Yeah.
I'm sure you have learned so many things about
I was just about to say, I admire, if I could add something to what you said, like the founder that had told me about, and I have 2 weeks of cash flow. I'm not sure if I'm gonna be able to make the salaries of my employees in 3 weeks. He was here in our office, sitting down, fully attentive to the speaker in front of him. Yeah. And I was thinking in the back of my head, I was distracted. I was like, this person who literally has so many immediate concerns on his mind can actually be fully immersed learning from the speaker in front of him. And like that capacity to prioritize and separate and be attentive to what needs your resources and attention at any given point in time, that's something that I've learned and I aspire towards from founders that I've worked with.
Yeah, no, I agree. You learn so much from them daily.
Yeah. So a lot of the times we learn from them, they learn from each other, but at the end of the day, I think that there's something to be said about, that mentality of constant learning.
Yeah.
And that's something that we support a lot here at Endeavor, never assuming that you have all the questions or all the answers, to what you know.
And that's a great point, Anna. And I think it comes down to being curious of what they don't know.
We were talking about this.
Being curious, and it's them literally looking for more. What more can they improve? What can they be better at? What else can they learn that can help their businesses? That curiosity. It's interesting.
And kind of us living vicariously through them. I know we talked about this a couple of times. So we use Slack, of course, for communication. And there's a feature there called Huddle. And when we were talking about this podcast, we were saying, it's going to be just like one of our
usual huddle.
Because honestly, sometimes we just get so much energy out of our entrepreneurs and out of helping them, listening in on those conversations, being able to make that connection, make that introduction that pushes the company forward. I get so excited when I think of the synergies of a new cohort participant, of a new scale-upper, as I call them. Exactly. And I connect them with an old scale-upper who's in the same industry or has addressed a similar challenge, etc. So the capacity of us, being the matchmakers is truly amazing for me.
And it's something that even though for example, a founder doesn't know that a connection might help, it pops into your head. You're like, maybe this connection might help them, and it's just because I think you get to believe in the founders and the company so much that it's like a present thought in our heads. I
Exactly.
feel like,
And sometimes you don't even expect it.
exactly.
Like now, in your current cohort, your current children, babies,
Yeah.
family, there's two companies in the biotechnology sphere that
Yeah.
immediately clicked. There was
First
people
day.
who knew each other from before. Tell us a bit about it.
Exactly. No, you would be surprised of all the synergies that the founders have. We had the two biotechs the first day. Amazing, because they work in different same like similar areas, and those connections have helped them through different challenges as well. Today we had a module in the morning, which is one of our sessions we do, weekly sessions we do. And the two biotech founders were brainstorming ideas on the different challenge they had, how they fixed them, how they overcame them, and that's the magic of it, I feel, as well.
I love it. No, we're very lucky to
Extremely
be working
lucky
with these founders,
Yeah.
and more so than that, where we want to see them going, or our North Star, is growing first statewide, nationally, internationally. You know, and I think that's where a lot of true scale comes, and that's a lot of the Endeavor entrepreneurs who are part of the global network. You know, post Series A, etc. Where we want to eventually help them go towards. So, you know, our engagement with those founders doesn't stop in the 4 months.
It does not, exactly.
They become
it's
part
just
of
the
community.
beginning if you think of it. Hopefully it's just the beginning. Yeah,
exactly. So I think that more than, you know, that active servicing on those 4 months, Endeavor aspires to be a community for them, and a community that brings together, heads down, building founders, separates the wheat from the chaff, the clutter,
Yeah.
and you know, truly, you know, puts founders together that can be greater together.
I love it. I couldn't have explained it better. I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what can founders do to get involved with us? What would be kind of like the call to
Whenever,
action?
yes, please. That's a great point. Whenever anyone, you don't have to be a founder, you don't have to be anything involved, even with the startup world. But if you see a founder who is trying to grow their companies, share the stories, talk about them in your communities, share the news, the good news.
Let's be advocates for each
Exactly.
other, right?
Yeah.
And let's be less self-involved and more other involved.
Exactly.
I don't
No,
have a bad
understand.
connotation to it, but let's pay forward our successes.
Exactly.
They can be your own, and that's healthy, but it also should be your neighbors,
I agree.
especially when, you know, they will do it for you. So that's what I think will separate eventually what the Miami startup ecosystem will evolve to become from the Silicon Valleys of the world, or the
Exactly.
New Yorks of the world. Like, we have a unique opportunity to set the rules of an inclusive game,
Exactly.
and to increase the size of the pie. And I think we've been handed such a large opportunity to do that here, and I think it starts with us.
No, 100%. And I also want to take this opportunity to invite any founders who want to go through that journey to reach out to us. We're here to help. We're here to help. And please reach out. And Endeavor is here for you.
Amazing. Well, Daniela, thank you so much for joining me in this conversation. It was such a pleasure working with you. I think that what we have here in the Endeavor Miami team is truly unique. We have
I agree.
12
Yeah.
people, 10 nationalities, and that I think also contributes to kind of like the demographics of what we want the local startup ecosystem to be. We want it to be diverse,
Exactly.
female, Latino,
Inclusive, everything.
everything. So
No, this was amazing, Anna.
it's been a pleasure.
Love this talk as well.
And thank you for listening. We hope to see you on the next episodes.